Yo, yo. So this episode of Kills It is a little bit different. My guest this week is a hunter, but we actually talk very little hunting. He's an interesting cat. He is a professional mixed martial artist, and he has started his own meal prep business. And one of the things we forgot to mention, he is very adamant about, he's preparing over 300 meals a week, and all the containers they use are recyclable. So, just another thing doing their part to just reduce waste and keep shit clean for sportsmen and Mama Nature. You know what I'm saying? You got to support that shit. So, Secretive Service shout out. We're going to go ahead and get to it. Let me pull up my phone here and see what we got, who we got here. So we got nothing. No one. No one sent shit in. You know what that means? That means no one loves you. No one. Not a single one of you fucks. And you don't love anyone else. So no wonder no one loves you. That's what that means, because no one sent in a Secretive Service shout out. Okay, maybe that was a little harsh, but this is the only time I'm going to pull one out myself. So it's up to y'all to share the love. Send one in. This kind of goes back to last week. My buddy Stephen Clark sent one in for his gunnery sergeant, and this week it's for him. One, apology, I said his fucking name wrong last time. My bad, brother. I apologize for that. I even knew your fucking name was Steven, not Stefan. So, yeah, feel like an asshole for that. So apologies for that. You can find him at Hidden Mountain Bowhunter on Instagram, and is also part of the Battle Woods podcast. So check them out. Follow them. But for real, big thanks to him for stepping up and heading into and serving for the Army after 9/11. And he served with the U.S. Army until 2011. I remember exactly when 9/11 happened, and I was in college, and it is because of men and women like him that stepped up and decided to enlist and enroll and head onto foreign soil that I was able to stay home and continue my college career and, in fact, earn a degree. And I have the utmost respect for him and everyone else that served. So that is the Secretive Service shout out of this week. But again, I ain't doing it again, y'all. It's up to you. If you guys want to continue this, please, send someone in. Again, it doesn't have to be military. It can be law enforcement. It can be fire, EMS, doctors, teachers, social workers, anyone that makes a big impact on your life or someone else's. So send that one in. And yeah, like I said, this episode, little different because we don't talk a whole lot of hunting, but it's a lot of fun. He's a good dude. And yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. Bite down on that mouthpiece. Hands up, chin down. Protect yourself at all times. And let's bang this shit out.
You were born primal. You were born primal.
What the fuck's up, y'all? Modern Assassin here, coming at you with another episode of Kills It. This podcast talk to men and women that kill it at their craft. And my guest today, well, he literally kicks ass and punches faces and chokes neck if you stick it out there. Prepares good meals and some other cool shit. Stay tuned. This episode kills it. All right, y'all. Here we are one more time. Kills it. Got my buddy on the line. What is up, Tyler Diamond?
What's up, my brother? It's been a little bit.
I know, man. you know, I usually right from the start, I usually try to just, get an intro for listeners to figure out who we are. But instead of having you introduce yourself, I tried to get hold of Bruce Buffer, and it just didn't work out. He couldn't get on the line tonight. Sorry, y'all. But Tyler Diamond has been in the octagon at the UFC, so I'm actually going to give your introduction first, as weird as this sounds. But and I'm going to try to do my best Bruce Buffer impression. So here we
Right
go.
on.
All right, you ready?
Hit me with it.
Here we go, y'all. And now for the moment podcast fans from around the world have been waiting for. It's time! 1 hour or however the fuck long we go in the KiLLs podcast. Introducing first. Speaking from the farm, it is myself, the modern assassin. You all know who I am and don't really give a fuck about anything else, so we're going to skip right on ahead to my guest today. Speaking from the West Coast, out in California, this man is a wrestler, standing 5'7" tall, weighing in at 145 pounds, with a fighting professional record of 11-1. Fighting out of Oroville, California, he is the #1 pick for the UFC TUF Series 27 and the current global knockout champion, Tyler Diamond!
Holy crap, man. You've always been animated, but that is good. You might need to take a sip of water after that.
Well, I was just going to say, you're just going to have to take the rest of this podcast away because I think it just blew out my voice.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry we couldn't get a hold of the Bruce Buffer, man. He has announced my name before. I know it's out there somewhere. I got to find it. I got to hit up the UFC and be like, hey, I should kind of have somewhat a little bit of right to that, but I don't know.
So we're going to start right there then. Like, what was that like? I mean,
it was surreal. In the moment, I don't know. I wasn't really that's my one loss on my record, right? I've actually lost twice, but seeing as it was in the show, it didn't count. But I've also won, and it didn't count either. So that fight, I went into it a little overconfident, I guess you could say. I was fighting a teammate of mine on the show, and I knew how I did against him in practice, and I was just like very confident, kind of went in there. It was just a surreal thing, having Bruce Buffer announce your name, and I went in there and I fought okay, but like
that's when you know the shit's real. Like,
yeah,
I feel like once
definitely.
Bruce Buffer is announcing your name, okay, yep, yeah, shit's real now.
Yeah, and, before I walked out, I'm kind of thinking like, holy shit, like right now, like this is the time. Like I've envisioned this moment happening, and here it is. It was unfortunate that it was such a close fight and that the judges saw it the other way when I totally thought I won. But it
was a hell of a fight. My brother and I watch most of the UFC fights together, and we watched every episode of that together, and I mean, it's definitely the most animated I've ever been over a TUF series, and it's crazy. Like, obviously you couldn't talk about it because it's happening before it's out on TV, right?
Correct. Yeah, everything had happened. Like we went out to Vegas January 20th ish, and I got to fly home November 1st, March 1st, March 2nd, and it didn't air till mid-April through July, So yeah, everything had already happened, and I couldn't say anything, Well,
I knew something was up because you just straight fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
Exactly. On social media and shit, and I'm like, huh. And I think I had seen, maybe a picture of you and Dana White prior to that or something like that. And I was like,
yep.
Oh, I know. I think I got an idea what's going on.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Most people put 2 and 2 together on that when I just disappeared off the face of the earth, it seemed like. And I literally did. I didn't have my phone, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, for the show, obviously, because they're afraid anything will leak or any kind of talk or news could change how things are going. So
Correct.
I mean, they pretty much cut you off, right?
100%. Yeah, we got put at Palace Station Hotel, and we actually end up being in that fucking hotel for like a week and a half. And so get this is crazy. So we get there, they go through your bags immediately, see what you can keep, what you can't keep. What you can't keep, they'll give to you when the show is over. And you were allowed to have your phone for the first couple days. The reason why was because you were literally locked in your room. You couldn't come out. You didn't have the card. They had it. You could call them if you wanted to go to a workout room, but that's the only place you could go. And if you needed food, you ordered room service. So I was literally like in a jail cell. And then finally, when they announced like 4 or 5 days in that, okay, we're going to start taking you guys to the TUF gym to work out. Problem is you're going to see who else is here. And because of that, we're going to take your phone. So make sure to bring your cell phone down in the morning and we're going to take them. So yeah, I meet in the lobby and I start seeing all these guys filter in and I'm like, oh, I figured that guy would make it. Oh, I figured that guy would make it. Oh, that's a surprise that he's here. And then they took our phones. And then from then on, like another week, we're in that damn hotel room locked in. But whenever you wanted, you could call and someone would come get you and take you down and put you in the van and you go to the TUF gym and work out. So yeah, funny thing is the first episode when it shows us walking in and we kind of like, that's the only part where we like act a little bit because they had us act like we were walking in the TUF gym for the first time. We had been working out in that fucking thing for a week straight prior to that.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha. You know, there's got to be a little bit of Hollywood in there.
Yeah, but that is the only Hollywood moment in a sense. Everything else was real as shit. Like, the producers didn't try starting anything. In fact, I almost wish the producers would have let us do more. Like there was some crazy shit that we kind of wanted to do in the house and they didn't allow it. So it's
you
definitely
mean shit
not
just
like
having fun or
having fun, just like crazy wild shit, such as like, so me and Bryce fought. That's who I like lost to or whatever. But me and him were buddies, and like me and him wanted to have some fun. You know, like that crazy fucker made a bow and arrow and was like trying to shoot and hunt squirrels and pigeons and shit in the backyard, and they just like did not allow that.
Oh,
you know, and it's like
fucking
it's
awesome.
kind of like, come on, like let's make some fucking good TV here.
Oh,
that's what we want to do. Just fucking let us do it. But
that's why I'm surprised they didn't allow it because that would be good fucking TV. But I guess
would, but
you know,
it's not. Hey, it's 2019 now, right? Like everything's offensive, so you got to be careful what you put on TV now. And yeah, there's some shit that we wanted to do that we just couldn't do. The producers like, we can't allow you to do that, man. Like, you know, not only could we not put it on TV, but secondly, you guys will be talking about that, and we can't have you talking about something we can't put on TV. And it's just, yeah, it's just definitely not like the Ultimate Fighter, the old ones, the original ones that people really enjoyed, you know?
Well, I mean, shit. You look at the way just the UFC in itself has changed since the original Ultimate Fighter. I mean, it's, you know, the Ultimate Fighter is what made UFC kind of a household name.
Correct. It was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I remember watching them back in the day. I mean, you know, Forrest Griffin and
Stephen Bonner.
Yeah, fuck, I mean, yeah. Dude, some of the first war between
fighters,
them.
Some of those prevalent fighters in UFC history and still today have came from the Ultimate Fighter.
Absolutely.
TJ Dillashaw, Nate Diaz.
Yep.
Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, like you said. Rashad Evans. Like, dude,
it wasn't Kevin Gastelum. Wasn't he a last pick?
Kevin Gastelum.
And he was a last pick?
Kelvin Gastelum was the last pick and won the show. Dude, Michael Bisping came from the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
like, think about that fucking guy. Like,
and then went on to coach. You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like, there's been some incredible fighters that came from that. So how I look at it is like, okay, I had my one UFC fight that I got cut from right after I lost because they had to cut me. It wasn't that they wanted to. It was like a one-fight deal. The roster was oversaturated. They said, hey, we got to cut you, but get a win or two, and you'll be back, no doubt. I've gotten that win or two, so I'm just kind of waiting. But, yeah, man, I still have the potential of being talked about as one of the best. Like, it's I
Well,
can see
and
it now from 6-7 years from now being like, yeah, dude, it's weird. Tyler, he was a number one pick. It didn't work out for him. Like, didn't hear from him for a little bit. Then he got re-signed and he just went on a tear. Like, I could totally see that happening, and that is what I'm trying to make come to fruition here.
well, I'm gonna step this back a few years, several years. I believe when you and I just kind of met through social media, I think you were 2-0. I think you had only had 2 professional fights
right
at that time. And
Mhm.
I remember watching, I just, because I saw you hunted, and that's kind of how I found you. I was like, oh, cool. And this dude, MMA. And then I saw one of your fights. I was like, damn. Like, I'm pretty sure you like knocked the wind out of the dude and took everything out of him with the body slam, and then he just
Mhm.
couldn't cover up for the ground and pound. And it was like,
Yeah.
this motherfucker's legit. And I've been a fight fan for a long time. Ever since I got a hold of and I still have it somewhere. Like the first VHS tapes of the UFC and shit.
Yeah.
Back when it was just, crazy, just style against style. There were no weight classes, all that shit. So
Correct.
it was that long ago that I first started following you, and you and I got in contact and just kind of bullshitted. So, I've watched you be on that tear,
Mhm.
that whole time building up to the UFC. And you're completely taken out of your element when you're in the tough competition, because you're not, which is part of it. That's part of what they're trying to do and everything else, but it's probably not the optimal conditions for your optimal performance in a fight.
Not one bit. I was the only guy on the show that fought twice in 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, the show doesn't
And a
show
brutal
that.
fight.
I fought Dulani. I didn't take much damage, but it's the weight cut. And furthermore than that, it's the fact that you don't know when you're fighting. So you have to be like in fight week. You have to weigh what you would weigh a week before a fight at all times. And that is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I walk around at 165 pounds feeling really good. Well, if you got to make 145 pounds on 2 days notice, like you can't walk around that heavy. So the whole time on the show, I was between 153 and 155 pounds.
Ready to just drop that
body.
extra right then and there for whatever.
And I weighed that much a month before my first fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I went out there at that weight January 20th because they made it sound like when we got there, we were gonna have to weigh in and fight to get onto the show. And that's what I thought too. So I'm like, fuck, I need to show up ready to fight immediately. And then all of a sudden they made it sound like we were going to get right into filming. Well, they had to wait on Stipe and Cormier. They had to wait on Stipe's fight with Ngannou. So after that happened, it was another week and a half. Then we finally started filming. I was the last fight because I was the number one pick. And it just so happened to be that I had to do 2 weight cuts and 2 fights within 7 days, which is not an excuse. I should have won. I still should have won that last fight. But
it was a war.
Definitely not optimal. Yeah, the hardest war I've ever been in my life, and it was for free.
It was an absolute war, though. I mean, it was one of those fights where literally at least like 8 times you thought the fight was over. There was times where you'd clip him and it's like, oh, he stumbled, he's rocked, he's going down. You land a couple more, he's wobbling, and then you took one to the chin and your knees buckled a little bit. And it's like, I mean, It was just back and forth and back and forth. It was a fucking war.
That's what the whole fight felt like. The whole fight felt like I would rock him and he would rock me, and I would rock him and he would rock me. After the first round, the second round, the third round, that's what it felt like. First round, it felt like I dominated the whole time, but I did not do myself any favors. Number one, I got too caught up in the fact that this was all going to be on TV and that I was the number one pick and that I needed to make a statement. I also got caught up in the fact that the only way I was gonna be happy is if I finished Jay. And with that, I didn't fight intelligently. I fought very, very tense, and because of that, also when you fight tense, you tend not to breathe, right?
Yes.
And I did not breathe very efficiently in that fight, and that's the first fight in my career that I've been that tired in a fight. If you watch it, you look in the
you
third
can
round,
see you gassed out, and you know,
I gassed out that. And it didn't help that he did a very, very good job of attacking my body.
Absolutely.
He was very well
That's
coached.
one of the things that I was going to mention. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you before or not. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fight fan, but you train at Alpha Male and with top killers in the world. So, you know, hearing something, my opinion, it's probably something you already got from guys or already know. But I remember specifically in that fight, and a couple of your fights, you are a wrestler background, and the way you leverage in your sprawl, and had guys on the cage, it really allowed him, like you said, to land those knees and attack the body. And they, you know, you can tell that they don't stun you, but they add up. And that's, yeah. And like you said, you're fighting tense. You're fighting with a purpose of, I need to finish, and I need to finish, you know, dominantly. And then you're just kind of not in your fighting flow. You're kind of forcing shit at that point.
The finishes come by not forcing them. When you try and force finish, it's not going to happen.
Yep.
And so that was an unfortunate lesson that I had to learn at an unfortunate time. But I'll tell you what, you look at all my fights since then, I haven't gassed out and I haven't made that mistake, right? So I've learned,
and you're a young dude, and that's a fucking, I mean, a massive learning curve. And the fact that you're not blaming it on anything, you're taking it for what it is and just know. And, you know, after that fight, your last fight, how long did it last? It didn't go very long.
I believe it was 32 seconds.
Okay, that was longer than I was thinking. I just I did watch it. You know, it was basically the whole fight was you know, just kind of a setup and a highlight reel. But dude, the way you worked off of your jab and the way you were covering distance in and out off of that jab, I mean, and then you just straight sniped him with the right. But have you been working a lot more, like specifically on footwork?
Oh yeah, a ton. I mean, I've just been focused on like being loose and relaxed in my stand-up, right? Like any wrestler will tell you that's probably the hardest thing transitioning from wrestling to striking is like being like loose and comfortable because like anyone can be like loose and comfortable in the mitts and look hella good, but it's a whole different thing when you got punches coming at you and actually hitting you.
Absolutely.
You know? It's weird. It's a weird concept to learn how to be comfortable getting hit. So that's just like the biggest thing that I've had to learn.
Biggest things people don't think about, you know, me and my buddies, we used to box and do all kinds of shit too. And, you know, even kind of had like our own little fight club before Fight Club was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
We do that kind of same shit in Northern California. We have all that too.
So one of the things people don't realize is like, even if the punch isn't landing like squarely or really even hitting or even causing damage, each time there's any type of shot, you're tensing up. And like you said, when you tense all your muscles, you can't breathe. So, you know, you can really lose gas or take gas out of someone just by continually touching them up and making them tense up, not necessarily by causing damage with those shots.
Yeah, especially if they're not comfortable, you know.
Yeah, and not able to breathe comfortably. Yeah.
Correct.
And that's what you wrestlers fuck. You're just like from the fires of uncomfortable as children on.
Oh yeah. I mean that's why a lot of wrestling doesn't resonate with the average kid, right? It's hard. Why do something hard? Why do something that gets hardly any recognition and is just hard as fuck, right?
And it's I mean, almost a 24-hour thing versus other sports. I mean, you got to stay in shape all day, every day. You're grinding your body. Yeah, it's
you wanna
almost
compete
child
at the
abuse.
No, I mean, if you want to compete at the highest level, yeah, it is a 24-hour a day job. Like you got to be professional and everything. You got to have everything on lock, you know. And I will be the first person, and not the only person, to say this: college wrestling is way harder than fighting MMA. And I think any college wrestler that's made the transition will tell you that. Like MMA is a breeze compared to college wrestling. I don't miss it. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad, you know, I wish I would have did a little better than I did in my college career, but I'm happy I saw it through. I'm happy I graduated college and did all that, but I do not miss it. The hardest thing I will ever do in my life.
Damn. Well, you know, whenever your training is harder than what actually comes, that means you're training and doing the right job. So yeah, I completely derailed us from asking, you know, and you were a D1 wrestler in college. So again, you coming from this wrestling background, I mean, I could really tell in this last fight of yours that your footwork and your movement, like your speed and the way you cover distance in and out, like, so take us through that transition of being a wrestler to, I mean, if you just walk in as a wrestler, you're getting knocked the fuck out now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. MMA is evolving, right? Like you cannot, 5-6 years ago, you could be a straight wrestler and have a pretty good career. Now, you have to have the whole package. Like the guys that are, and we were talking about being comfortable. The guys that are comfortable are guys that are well-rounded, all right? They don't have holes, so they're not worried about where the fight's going to go. So they can fight comfortably, right? So for me, my whole thing is I'm a wrestler, but like I'm not just a wrestler. Like I sub high-level black belts all the time. You know, I can box with some of the best boxers and hang with those guys. And you need to be able to do that in every single different sport, every single different discipline.
And then be able to put it all together.
Correct. Exactly. And the guys that are really, really good are the guys that can blend all that together. That's super important. Is that Brick?
Yep, that's Brick, little maniac.
But anyway, for me, I've really been trying to work on developing my style, you know, like I'm not a guy that can fight like Conor McGregor. I'm not tall and longer than everybody, you know? So I got to look at guys like such as Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, you know, guys like that, and kind of blend my style and maybe model certain things after them. But certainly I'm much different than them in a lot of ways too. So it's just all about finding your style, what works for you, what you're good at. So you're mentioning the in and out thing. Like I'm only 5'7" at 145 pounds. Like I'm a pretty short featherweight. So I typically need to be all the way in or all the way out. This last guy I fought was my height, so I didn't need to play that game as much, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And yeah, I'm always working my footwork, because the better your footwork is, the better your hands are going to be. And I'm a pretty fast twitch muscle guy already. So I've always had a pretty lightning quick jab, especially. So yeah, I mean, like the game plan with the last guy was, it was a last minute fight. Like I didn't even think it was going to happen. It did, which was cool. Because my fight before that fell out.
I remember that.
Right
just before it too.
Yes, yeah. It was supposed to be October 11th, and that fight fell out like 2 weeks before. So I hit up a promoter for this last show, and I said, "Hey, it's a long shot, but if you can find someone with a winning record, that's tough, and you can pay me X amount of dollars, like I'll fight for you." And he found this guy that like he swore up and down he could beat me. You know, he was confident. Like I like that. You should be confident if you're in this game. You know, he thought he could beat me, but there's no way he was beating me on that night for sure, or ever.
Your speed was unmatched. You know, you could tell he just didn't have the speed. To keep up with what you were coming at him with.
And I knew he was going to throw that naked leg kick. A lot of good fighters will throw naked leg kicks, you know, and I specifically had practiced for the last guy that if he tried throwing a low leg kick on me, I was going to put that right hand right in his face. And lo and behold,
Because if he's on one foot, he ain't going backward or forward.
Correct. And well, he's not getting his head off the center line.
Exactly.
So I just knew that head was me right there for the taking, and I took it. And I talked to him in the back, and he said, "Man, I wanted to give you a tougher fight, man, but that right hand hit me right on the button, and he was bleeding. All of his teeth were bleeding, like in his gum. So I don't know if it maybe loosened some teeth up on him or what, but I just know I hit him flush, and it ain't about how hard you hit someone; it's just where you hit them, and I just hit him in the right spot. So, but it was hard. But it was hard as fuck too, so that helped.
Well, and you're talking about a lot of the speed comes from the footwork, but a lot of the power comes from the footwork too. If you're off balance or out of position, I mean, you can't follow through. You can't get your form in your body. That's why you see a lot of people, that don't know how to fight. They throw punches and it looks like they're throwing a baseball. Their back foot's coming up off the ground and shit. And it's like, man, how you driving through?
Correct. I'm not a baseball player, but like I'm a pretty intelligent guy, and I try to compare sports and like movement, because overall the physics of like baseball swings, golf swings, football, throwing a football, baseball, whatever, like the mechanics, it's just interesting, the similarities between all of it. And some of the similarities you'll see is that you can't get too wide with your feet. You usually bring your back foot, usually pivot on that back foot. It's a lot of it's in the hips, man.
Oh yeah, power from your center. You know, and you got to be grounded. Again, you can't. You got to have your center grounded.
Correct.
And that's where that footwork comes in, making sure you're centered, because you got to be mobile. Like you said, you can't stand still. You can't stay on center line. That's one of the coolest things that I notice with real high level strikers is when they move in, they don't just move forward. You know what I mean? They're always working angles. Yes, I mean the use and work of angles is just, that's when striking goes to another level.
Yes, I honestly wish my striking was as good as like my knowledge of striking, because like, so I'm not like a geeky person. I'm not like overly smart in school or anything like that. But when it comes to mixed martial arts and techniques, especially striking, I'll say, like I'm a geek with that. Like just a wealth of knowledge about angles and footwork and, the 20 different ways you can throw a jab or a cross or whatever, the orthodox to southpaw transitioning stuff. I'm working on that stuff every day, and hopefully by the end of my career, I'm just, I don't even look like a wrestler per se anymore. I just look like a high level striker. But I will say my striking is better now than it's ever been, and I'm very happy with where it's at. I mean,
oh yeah, it showed in your last fight.
I go with world class kickboxers, and I feel fine. So.
Oh yeah, like I said, it showed in your last fight.
Just
quick, extremely dominant, powerful. Yeah. So
yeah, and obviously I got to give credit to my team. Like all my teammates that helped me out at Team Alpha Male, my coaches. But I got to also, there's this guy that holds mitts for me. I say he's like just a guy. He's not. He's a friend, but his name's James Drekus, and he's never fought in his life. He's kind of like a Greg Jackson. Super, super, super intelligent in the fight game. Can hold the shit out of some mitts.
Just has no interest in actually getting punched in the face and fighting.
No, none. But he has interest in helping me be a better fighter, and he holds mitts for me every Tuesday. And man, if people watch us hit mitts, like it's next level, So I've made big gains hitting mitts with that guy.
Oh yeah, that's badass. Dude, one of my favorite fighters, from being a longtime fan. It seems you kind of became somewhat recently closer to and friends with, and that's the Carpenter.
Oh, dude, I knew you were going to say Clay Guida. Everyone loves that guy.
Dude, I have been a Clay Guida fan for such a fucking long time because he's just a fucking maniac. He's like a fucking Neanderthal maniac. Fucking love him.
Oh, yeah. His fighting style is totally opposite to his personality. It's weird.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's just...
Personality-wise, he is chill as fuck. But, yeah, the guy loves fishing. You take him fishing, well, I'll put it this way. Whenever he goes fishing, like, whenever we have a trip booked together, which it hasn't been a ton, but we've gone fishing quite a bit out here in Sac, the guy will meet up early in the morning, and I'm like, man, how'd you sleep? And he's like, oh, I didn't sleep. I was just too excited. You know?
That's
like,
fucking
the guy,
wild.
that's how
but probably sleeps like a baby before his fights.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. He's just so chill when it comes to, like, the fighting stuff, you know? Hard worker, too. I will say, that guy's in the gym, like, 3 times a day, which is just insane to me, a guy at his age. But, man, he's just, like, a true professional. He's always taking care of himself, always eating good, and always fishing. Or going to, like, some reggae concert or something. It's hilarious.
And tough as fucking nails. Dude, when he ate that fucking head kick from was Diego Sanchez. Is that right? I think it was Diego Sanchez, dude.
The guy fought over 50 times, 50
dude,
professional fights.
I specifically just remember him taking this. He was caught open sideways, and you know, kind of like when you catch someone open for that clean body kick. But he took it straight to the face, and when he fell back, I remember thinking, he's fucking dead.
Yeah, I know.
And before his fucking hair,
the Hall of Fame.
And before his hair was even finished whipping down to the mat, that motherfucker bounced back up and was just going at it again. And I mean, how could anyone not? If you're a fight fan, you got to be a fan of Clay Guida.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Unless you're Nate Diaz, then you're not. But everyone else is. So
fair enough. Yeah, I remember some shit going down, some confrontation between them, and you kind of getting caught up in the middle of some of that shit too.
Yeah, no, it was really dumb. I don't even really want to speak on it. I shouldn't have posted anything online about it, honestly. Just at the moment, I was like so pissed. I was just like, what in the fuck just happened, you know? Because like, I really got like ganged up on by a bunch of random fucking people. I didn't even know who they were, and I didn't do anything. But at the time, I was just kind of pissed and made like a tweet that I probably shouldn't have, saying like "F you," but it is what it is. But anyway, back to Clay Guida, a guy who I really like. My dad was always a huge fan of Clay too, as is everyone. So when people find out that like, you know, him and I aren't only just teammates but we're friends, they're just like mind blown, you know, which to me is weird because like, you know, I'm friends with like Clay and like Faber's a friend. My buddy Chad Mendez, like, you know, we're friends. We don't go to dinner every single night, but we're good buddies, you know. And it's just I guess it really is cool when I step back thinking that those guys are my buddies, you know. But like I don't have that starstruck thing because I've known them for so long now, and you know, been in the gym with them so much. But
yeah, you're trading mitts and blood and sweat in the gym every day with them.
But to other people, it's like the coolest thing ever, you know. And when I take a step back, it's kind of like, wow, that really is cool. In fact, Chad Mendez gave me one of his bows semi recently.
No shit. Yeah, I know he's a big time archery hunter, and not just archery. I remember he killed, I think it was a fucking just absolute hammer of a mule deer. I think he had either had an opportunity or missed it with a bow or something, and then was able to take him with the muzzleloader. But yeah, he's a fucking hell of a hunter too.
Yeah, I think that muzzleloader buck was in Utah. He just got a huge one in Colorado. I can't even keep up, dude. That guy kills more deer in a 2-week span than I have in my whole life. Super jealous, but he gave me his old bow, which was freaking super nice of him. Because he's sponsored by Hoyt, so Hoyt, the premier bow company.
And you guys are same size and shit, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I had to lengthen the draw length a little bit because his reach is quite a bit shorter than mine. But yeah, it worked out freaking perfect. Just adjusted the reach on that thing, and
Hell yeah.
I was good to go, man. I unfortunately didn't harvest a buck this year, but yeah, I don't. California is not in a good place hunting wise right now, so
I mean,
can't blame it all on that. But
I can't really think of. I mean, I'm looking at it from the east side over here, so but I can't really look at anything where California's on the good side of.
Yeah, no, there's not much right now. It's actually really discouraging. I mean, I only tend to focus on the things that I care about, and one of them is hunting, fishing, wildlife management, and we just have big problems over here in California, man. The population is down. It's not just down by looking at the numbers; like it's noticeably down.
Population of hunters or animals?
Deer.
Gotcha.
Specifically. The population of bears and mountain lions is the highest it's ever been.
So
and
that's the problem.
Deer,
yeah. Yep.
That is one. That is one of problems. There's a few others too. I think one of them being that, we've cut off some migration trails. I think that's a problem. But I definitely think the biggest thing is bears and mountain lions. I mean, bears and mountain lions definitely kill way more deer than hunters ever could, to be honest. But yeah, like mountain lion hunting has been illegal here in California for a long time. And then I want to say about 4, 5, 6 years ago now, whatever, California made it illegal to hunt bears with dogs.
Yes.
And that was actually really profitable business here. In fact, I have a really, really good old timer friend that used to do that. And he still has his dogs. All he can do now is take them coon hunting at like the local wildlife area, but he used to be a bear guide, and there still is a quota on bears. And ever since they outlawed you being able to use dogs, that quota hasn't even been close to being reached.
Yeah, it's really tough. I do know a guy that killed a bear in California. It was pretty badass. He killed it wearing my bear skull mask. My buddy Caterpillar. Shout out, motherfucker.
Oh, I follow him on Instagram too. He's hilarious.
Oh, the fucking whack 'em and pack 'em madman.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like that like high pitched voice, and like he gets all jacked up. It's
yeah, he's a fucking wild man. I love that dude. I got to hang out with him in Ohio with the other Tattooed and Wild boys. It's kind of funny actually. Speaking of the Tattooed and the Wild boys, the one that is the tattoo artist, Dallas Brewer, He owns the Tattooed in the Wild studio. When he was in Ohio, he was a boxing coach and was actually, did some work with Cody Garbrandt when he was amateur, and now has done a lot of Cody's tattoos. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that shit kind of wraps around.
Yeah, I feel like I have a couple of those Tattoo in the Wild guys on my Facebook too. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
To keep up with especially on Facebook when you're friends with all kinds of people.
Oh yeah,
I know.
But it's like friends that help promote each other. You know what I mean? You know who I'm talking about because of me, that link in between, and I've told some of the guys that I was getting you on, and they're like, "Oh fuck yeah," they know who I'm talking about. It's just kind of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, it's been a few years we've been kind of
since January of 2016.
Is that what it was?
I put that together. Yeah, that's when I fought Jimmy Jones and I slammed his ass.
Gotcha.
And messed him up. But yeah, I don't follow a ton of people I don't know on Instagram unless I see that, number one, that they seem cool. Like you can get a sense of how someone is through their social media, and if they hunt and they're like a hunting advocate and things like that, like I tend to follow people like that. That's probably the only type of people who I follow that I don't know personally, specifically, But,
so you're not only big time deer hunt, but turkey hunter out there too, right?
Oh yeah, I love turkey hunting. It's awesome.
And I mean, sometimes it looks like you have a decent number of turkeys. Is that the
Oh
case still, or I'd imagine that's
yeah,
dropping as
there.
well?
No, there's an infestation of turkeys,
No
but mainly
shit.
because they're in the valley, and most of the bears and mountain lions are up in the mountains where the
Gotcha.
deer migrate and
Gotcha.
things like that. So they don't have that interference there. Oh man, the turkey population is out of the roof. I mean, I think they're really hard for predators to kill. There's so many eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, they can fly in trees. They sleep in trees at night. Like, yeah, there's a bunch. I could have already killed a couple turkeys this fall season. I've been out a couple times, but I've just been trying to get my brother one. But I'll probably make sure I kill one like on Monday or Tuesday of next week if I'm able to get out there, and so I can fry it for Thanksgiving. That's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the goals of mine.
Well, just last night I was out at a spot, public land, and it's for archery deer hunting only. And I had
Okay.
14 plus turkeys come up right by me, and like you said, they went right up the hill past me, and then pitched into the trees like 60, 80 yards from me. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Didn't see a
I've
damn
actually
deer,
noticed.
but
Oh, that sucks. Those turkeys, they love roosting wherever they can get up on a hill and run down the hill and then fly up into their tree.
oh yeah, they're fucking butterballs. They don't want to flap their wings
Yeah,
if they ain't got it. They want to just
yeah,
couple flaps and glide right up into a tree branches. Yep. And
exactly.
then
Yeah,
same thing. Then they'll
interesting.
drop down in the morning and figure out where to go from there.
Yep. Yeah, turkey hunting's great. The deer hunting has been very difficult. I mean, I've hunted the same area for 3 years in a row, and I probably won't be going back next year. It's just I've watched it progressively decline. Um, Super sad, and yeah, it's just man, it's disheartening. Which is why I'm going to start hunting out of state more. I haven't up until this point for a couple of reasons. Number one, I've been so fucking busy with fighting, and then secondly, it takes a lot of planning to hunt out of state. You got to have a buddy or two that can go with you, and most of my buddies have Monday through Friday jobs, so it's like not the easiest thing for them.
I was gonna
Like
say, hit up that dude Chad Mendez. He's probably he knows a thing or two.
God, dude, I wish I wish we could that because hunting is his job now and he runs his guide service. It'd be really hard for me and him to sneak out, but I was supposed to go on a pig hunt with him like 2 months ago, and I forgot that I kind of double booked myself. I had already had plans of cornering some buddies at like a fight, so I definitely wasn't going to ditch out on them so I could go pig hunting.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for
So
sure,
I
for
had to
sure.
tell Chad like, "Dang it, dude, I'm sorry. I got my buddy's fight that I got to go corner him, or it sounds like it'd be fun, but we'll do it again." So I'm pretty sure that we'll set that up here soon or in the spring or whatever.
You guys should come out bow fishing too.
I would love to. I watch your videos and that looks so damn fun. I've actually bow fished once in Minnesota. It was such a good time, but like you guys do it at night with those lights and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
That looks freaking killer.
yeah. My buddy Nick, working class outdoorsman. This boat, we spent months. I mean, months on the phone every night. Hey, check this out. What do you think about this? Hey, I just sent you a picture. What do you think if we design this? Hey, what do you think about that? And it was literally every day back and forth. We spent until, had this idea. And then, yeah, Nick has built the baddest boat on the fucking East Coast, dude. It is so sick.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, and I mean, fuck it. I'll just say it. We kill a lot of shit. I mean, we're pretty fucking good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And if you come out, you also got to bring your brother, dude, Brandon.
Oh yeah, that's a prerequisite. Anytime anyone invites me anywhere, they're like, "You can come, but you got to bring Brandon." I'm like,
dude,
it ain't that hard to do. So, all right.
For people that don't know, Tyler, your Instagram is Tyler D1, right? As in Diamond for D1 Wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude,
Tyler Diamond is already taken, so I had to figure out something clever.
Well, there you go. You put the D1 Wrestling in as Diamond. Got it. Dude, you guys fucking crack me up.
Oh, dude.
So tell us a little bit about your brother for those that don't know.
Well, my brother's a year and 12 days younger than me, but he has autism, a very mild form. Like, he's very independent. He can take care of himself. Like, he can almost drive. Like, he goes to work every day. He gets picked up and taken to work. He gets dropped off. He goes to the gym and lifts. Like, very independent dude. But it is funner than shit messing with him and scaring him and, stuff like that. I have two of those highlights now on Instagram called Brand Fans because he almost has developed like a fan base. So I have like Brand Fans and Brand Fans Part 2. And I almost need to make a Part 3, even though I got to admit I've been slacking on getting shit on camera lately. I just so wish that I could record stuff with my eyes because all the funny shit I never get recorded. And all the stuff that I do record, people think it's funny as shit. So it's just, it's
That's
funny.
the way
We got
it
a
is
good
with
relationship.
anything. Oh, dude, you
Yeah.
guys fucking kill me. And the way he just like, the way he acts back and flips you off and yells a bunch of
Oh, he
shit.
gets pissed
Oh
about
my
it.
God, it fucking kills me every time, dude.
And there's some people out there that are like, you need to be nicer to your brother. It's like I am being nice with him. I'm being a brother and fucking with him. But don't get me wrong. He gets me back.
Oh
like,
yeah,
people think it's just me doing it to him. Like, no, that little fucker gets me all the time. He just don't film it or anything like that. So everyone thinks I'm just like picking on little brother. It's like, nah, little brother kind of picks on older brother a lot.
dude. It's great. He is funny as shit. And you can tell like both of you are. It's a stupid little moment between brothers, but you can tell both of you are having like the fucking time of your life. Like it's it's fucking hilarious. I've seen all the woodwork and building and shit he's doing. It's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Out there he's shooting his bow and hunting with you and everything as well. So I guess then if fucking deer hunting and everything's going downhill and all, I guess then wild game isn't as much of a staple in your like fight diet and everything as it used to be then.
Not as much as it used to be. I used to have a full freezer that I would get, a deer every year. But I haven't gotten a buck in 2 years now. So I eat a decent amount of turkey, a decent amount of striper, and
rockfish for the Marylanders.
some duck. Other than that, man, I've just been having to buy my chicken in bulk at the old Smart Food Service for $1.10 a pound, and that's what I got going. I mean, that's the one thing in the last years I've gotten really good at cooking food, mainly due to my wife. I mean,
congrats on getting married too, man.
Thanks. It's been awesome. Like, I couldn't be in a better situation with that. She like genuinely enjoys cooking for me. It's not that I never have to ask her. She just does it, and we cook together a lot, and we got pretty good at cooking food, knowing what works, what doesn't. And, we've got like, signature way we cook certain things. So she would always meal prep for me because, typically I leave Orville on Monday morning and I don't come back to Orville till Friday evening. So there's sometimes, especially when I'm in fight camp, where I don't see her for a few days,
And you're training what, 2 a days?
Pretty much 2 a days, yeah. Sometimes
Gotcha.
on Wednesday I'll spar and that's all I'll do, depending on how I feel. But I just listen to my body, right?
Right.
And she would always meal prep for me, and it was freaking awesome, like having all my meals ready to go. That way, when I was done with practice, I could just pop in the microwave and get something healthy in me right away. Well, she would always like post it on her Instagram story, and people were always like writing her or I being like, man, do you guys sell those, or, where do you guys get those or whatever? And we would always kind of laugh, be like, so weird. Like, people want to buy these things, and then we kind of like, we're just laying in bed one night. And we're like, what if we started a meal prep company? And we're like, nah. And we're like, no, but let's do it. Like, let's give it a shot. So we basically spent this whole calendar year, like, practicing. Like, continuing meal prep for me, but then meal prepping for some friends and getting their tips on what they liked, what they didn't like. And they pretty much fucking liked almost everything. And I started looking at the bigger picture in terms of what it could end up being, especially because in Butte County, the county where I live, there is no other meal prep companies. And I'm like, man, we've learned by trial and error. Like, I know how much chicken to buy for 50 meals or whatever. Like, let's make a run at this. So after some of my fights, when I had some downtime, I would literally spend every single day going to the health department and talk to them and, figuring out what the next step was. So we created a meal prep company recently. We launched like 4 weeks ago, and it's doing super well.
And it looks super fucking good.
It non-biased, it is. And it's not because of me. It's mainly because of her. I just do all the meat. She does everything else. And it's incredible. I mean, we can whip out 300 meals in about 8 hours.
I mean, it looks fucking banging too. Like, it's not just always simple shit. It's like a home cooked meal.
It is. It's not just, a couple ounces of chicken thrown in with some vegetables that, got steamed the shit out of and they're just not unflavorful, whatever. Like, we cook things really, really well. Our portion sizes are big. Like, all of our meals are about 10 ounces, which, looking at other meal prep companies' meals, you're just like, holy crap. Like, people pay $12 a meal for that. Like, it's just insane. So we really pride ourselves on quality, number one, just like, I mean, in fact, I've cooked a small batch of chicken before, and when I cut it up, I thought it was too dry, so I just threw the shit out, and I restarted, throwing it out, meaning I put it in a bag for me, not I wasn't going to put it in my customers' stuff,
Yeah, for sure. Making sure you're, providing the best and consistently. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm always using a meat thermometer, and I take that chicken off right when it hits 166, because when you're talking about stuff that's being cooked on Sunday and eaten as late as Friday, like and
reheated.
Time, yes, correct. That time and temperature makes a big difference. I mean, if you let that chicken climb up anywhere past, 175, whatever internal temp, by Friday, you are eating the driest piece of chicken you've ever imagined, right? So I also cook all of our chicken on a Traeger. Do you know what a Traeger is? Do you guys have those out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't personally have one, but yes, I know
okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Those are like huge here now, and reason being is like the meat is so much better on those things. Like, they just have a way of your meat doesn't get all dried out like a typical barbecue can do at times. So I cook all of our chicken on a Traeger, and with the thighs, I marinate all the thighs, and yeah, it's bomb. I'm very, very, very proud of the product we've been producing, and proud of the social media marketing content we've been doing. And I'm still learning a lot in terms of business and how to make the business grow and get bigger. But man, right now, for just starting out, like, we're doing really well. Our customer retention rate is really good, and we have an awesome kitchen that we rent. We use a local sandwich spot actually in town. There's 2 locations, but they have one that's like bigger and closed on weekends. So we rent that kitchen, and it's like the most perfect setup. They have a huge walk-in fridge. So this is another, not to knock on other meal prep companies, but this is another thing where we are just way ahead of the game. A lot of meal prep companies will cook food and they will let it sit out for God knows how long until they put it all in containers. And then, they put the lid on the containers, and then they put all the stuff in the fridge. I don't know if that's because they don't have access to a walk-in fridge, or if they just, I don't know. But I just know, talking to people personally, that a lot of meal prep companies do that. With us, we cook our food and we let it sit out maybe for a max of, 10 to 15 minutes. We let it cool off quite a bit. and then we roll all the food into the walk-in fridge, and we let it sit in that fridge until we are ready to assemble. So assembly takes about, I'd say, 15 minutes per meal. And then as soon as we're done assembling that meal, we roll it straight back into the fridge. So
you're letting it drop down to room temperature and then getting it cold to, keep it fresh and lock everything in.
We're letting it almost drop to room temp. If you let it drop to room temp, it might take quite a bit longer than 20 minutes. And just we don't want people getting sick, right? So we take that stuff ultra seriously. And I know firsthand that there's some other meal prep companies out there that don't. And it's just crazy. I couldn't imagine.
Now, are most your customers other fighters or athletes or people competing? Or really?
No, in fact, it's not. Most of our customers are like normal people. And this is where I think a lot of meal prep companies go wrong too. I think a lot of meal prep companies
don't be giving away your secrets, bro.
Yeah, well, this is common knowledge here. I think a lot of meal prep companies advertise to athletes and people that compete and things like that. The thing is that our meals are for everyone in the sense that we have modifiers. So if you want more chicken, you can do the protein plus option that adds 2 additional ounces of chicken. You can do the low carb option. Let's say if maybe if we have a client that's overweight and can't really work out or something, they can do the low carb, which is it's just the meat, and then it doubles the amount of servings on the vegetable.
Gotcha.
So, the thing is too is like a lot of meal prep companies, because they try to appeal to people that are competing and athletes, they all of a sudden think that salt is like the worst thing ever when it's really not. So we use a moderate amount of seasoning in all of our stuff. It's all MSG.
It's got to taste
salt free, but it tastes good, right? Like some of these places just like don't season a damn thing, and it's like, holy crap! So you overcooked your chicken and it's dry, and you didn't season nothing. Yeah, this is like gross. I don't want to eat it again. So I think that is a large part of why we have so many people order every single week. And then when we have new people order, they continue working every single week. And why it's continually been growing is because not only do we pump out quality food that tastes good, we do everything else right as well. And but number one is your shit has to taste good. If it doesn't, who the fuck's gonna buy it, right? So we do a good job on that. And I have to give pretty much all the credit to my wife, honestly. Like I said, I cook the meat, I wash some dishes, I give her things that she needs, but when it comes to everything else, she cooks it, and she does a damn good job. She does it 10 times better than me, so I'm never gonna step on her toes there.
Well, that's a lot to take on. Is like, you guys, how long were you guys married? I mean, you're pretty recently married, and then you guys start this business together.
So we've been married since August, but we started the cooking, experimenting with that in, I'd say January. And prior to that, she meal prepped for me,
Right.
So this year has been the busiest year of my life. Prior to this, I had a lot of time to hunt. So my life just consisted of training, working here and there, odd and end side jobs for money, and hunting. But it also kind of sucked, right? I was always broke. Now I'm 28. I'm married. I'm in a spot where I want to buy a house. I can buy a house, but the market is just insane right now out here. So we're kind of waiting on that. But, this year's just been so busy. We had the wedding. We decided to have our wedding, on my aunt's property right next door, which is not a wedding venue. So about 280 man hours later, it became a wedding venue. 270 of those hours were put in by me.
I remember watching the Instagram stories and all that shit of you guys out there putting everything together and making it happen.
Yeah, so when you want to talk busy, dude, it was meal prepping every weekend. it was getting the property ready for our wedding in August. It was getting ready for a fight that I thought I was going to have in February, then March, then April. Didn't happen till May. So I was in the longest fight camp of my life doing all this. And you got to keep in mind, like, when I'm in fight camp, I'm in Sacramento. Everything else, all this other stuff I'm doing is in Orville. So we're talking multiple hour-and-a-half trips back and forth, doing this and that. And then in addition to that, since March, I've been in real estate school online. And I'm finally,
shit.
yes. So my wife's mom is a very successful real estate agent, and real estate has always interested me. Like, I don't know. There's certain things that interest you in life, and that's one of them. And so I said, you know what? I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting 28. It's time to start figure out something that I can do while I do MMA and possibly after. So yeah, I'm getting my real estate license.
So did you start the real estate license and school and everything? Did you start doing that prior to the meal dash?
Correct. Yeah. So I'm kind of an idiot. I kind of did all this stuff at the same time. It was hard. Like I said, this has been the busiest year of my life.
Well, and another thing for people that just listen to this and maybe don't know you, when you say, training, you're not just going and training. And you are keeping to the point where you're ready to take a fight anytime that phone rings.
Pretty much always ready for the most part,
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's just been busy. It's been the meal prep on weekends. It's been getting ready for the wedding venue. It's been doing real estate school online and getting through that. In addition to that, I actually got my life insurance license too. I'm not actually practicing that, but I did it to, I got compensated for getting it, and then I'm able to refer people to the right people to get life insurance now. And that took quite a bit of my time. I just put in like 52 hours online and then go pass the state test. And then now, I still got this this meal prep thing every weekend. I'm about to get my real estate license here in a couple weeks now, and I take my test. So it's been a lot of grinding this year outside of the normal training grind. But it's good because I'm finally in a spot now where I actually have a little bit of money where, like, if I want something, I can actually think about buying it, where before it was just like, oh, no, I can't buy that right now because I just shouldn't. When you're only making a little bit more money than what you need, what you have in bills, you got to be ultra careful with what you spend your extra money on,
For sure.
So besides gas and food, man, there wasn't much extra room for me. And a lot of that gas was taken up from hunting because hunting's expensive, man, and that was something that was super important to me. But yeah, man, it's nice to have a tiny bit of financial freedom. I mean, I'm not out of the dark yet in terms of, my business is only 4 weeks in. It could take a nosedive at any time. You never know. I don't think it will, but you just never know. So I'm hoping that along with doing real estate and me continuing fighting can really set my wife and I up for really good things to come in the future. And she's about to get a full-time job teaching. So all this hard work is
y'all are hustlers
to fruition. Oh, dude, we're always hustling. You have to, man. If you want to make it, nothing worth having has ever came easy. You got to grind for it.
Yeah, and, if you have a dream and there's anything you want for yourself, there is no, well, I'm tired at the end of the day and not doing it. I mean, you just gotta put into it every day, no matter what it is you want. So how's this meal thing work? Are you mailing meals? Do people just come pick them up? Is it just a local thing?
Yeah. So a lot of people have asked me about the mailing the meal thing. So we're not doing that yet, and solely because, so we easily could. But the reason why I'm not getting into that yet is because you really have to get your backyard market nailed down before you can make that kind of expansion. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. I need to do things in a certain specific order. And number one is that I need to continue to develop my local market. So there's
Smart.
two different options. People pick up their meals during a short little time window at the end of the day on Sundays from 4:30 to 5. So people can put in their order anytime Monday through Friday. And then they get to pick up their meals from the kitchen from us on Sundays between 4:30 to 5. Or for an additional charge, they can have their meals delivered. So the reason why I did the delivery thing is because Orville, although it's like not a small town, it's not a big town either. There's a bigger town right next door called Chico. There's Durham that has a lot of wealthy people. There's Paradise. Like, there's really good surrounding towns, and I didn't want to cut off my market. No one from Chico wants to drive to Orville on a Sunday and pick up their meals. But if they can get them delivered, they might do it, right?
Right.
So I really wanted to implement the delivery service, and I have, and it's been very successful. The one surprising thing is that 95% of our orders are local pickups, which tells me that we haven't even hit that Chico market yet, really, because we got about 6 or 7 deliveries, I would say, a week in Durham and Chico, but that's just barely scratching the surface, you know? So it's kind of scary when you think about it, the potential and how big this thing could grow, because right now it's only a 4-person operation. It's me, my wife, her sister comes and helps us, my mom, and I actually implemented Brandon. Brandon's been helping, and he's been doing a damn good job. But that's it, man. That's who's there. I can't afford to like hire a bunch of people yet or anything like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man,
it's been that successful that early, though. I mean,
Yeah.
not that obviously you took your time building this, you know, and making sure you had you know, a good product to put out and everything else. It sounds like you didn't rush into it, but absolutely.
Which is why, you know, people are all kind of. I've had a couple questions. It's like, why did you launch in October? That's a terrible time of year, and it is. But I did it strategically. Number one, I wanted to wait till we had everything lined up perfectly before we launched. And then number two, I also took it as, okay, if we launch in October, things will probably be pretty slow in October, November, and December with the holidays, which is fine with me, because then that gives us some trial and error in the kitchen, like learning. But dude, there's been hardly any trial and error. Like, everything's been very, very smooth, and we haven't been as slow as I thought we would be. I mean, we're doing over 300 meals a weekend right now, which it takes a while. That's a lot of meals, you know, and we're growing every single week. So it's kind of crazy to me that we're growing every single week during this holiday season, but it's also a good thing, and I'm not going to complain. I mean, we're starting to finally like turn a profit, because like any business, there's a lot of upfront initial costs that are involved. So pretty much have all those wiped away almost, and starting to turn a profit. So that's really cool to see. And yeah, my wife and I are just like super excited what the future holds. Like, we got super big plans for it, but like I said, I think really big, and sometimes I have to like calm myself down and be like, okay, slow down. We can't mail out food yet. We need to focus on the backyard. We need to get the backyard market completely solidified, and then I can think about branching out to that. So that's a whole mess of new stuff that's involved, and you got to get more people involved, and yeah. So the time will come where we start doing that. It's just not right now.
That you're absolutely right. You're opening up a whole different level if you start doing shipping and everything like that. But fuck if you do.
Especially with food. I mean, if I had a product that wasn't like food, I could, you know, like for like talking about you, for example, that Reach camera arm. So do you own that? Like, is that your thing? Like, can you give me some insight on that?
So how I've used just about every different camera arm out there, right? And because I've been doing self-filming for so many years.
Which, by the way, I have to say I respect the fuck out of, because it is hard. I have tried filming for my hunts. I've gotten one turkey hunt successfully on film. It is so hard.
It is, like, dude.
The stuff that you have to carry in, set up, like, oh my gosh. It's just, when you watch some of these hunting videos on YouTube, and you've tried it yourself, you really respect what those guys do.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And the carrying the equipment in and having decent equipment and setting up the equipment was the biggest pain in the ass is self-filming. It was funny when I was just in New York and, talking to the guys, and I said, people ask me all the time, what's your first, tip to self-filming? And my first tip is don't. I mean, because it's a motherfucker. It's going to cost you more animal. You're going to miss more opportunities than what you're going to capture on film and what you would have killed if you weren't filming at all. And that's a promise.
I was literally just going to say that. I have missed opportunities on deer and multiple turkeys because I tried filming my hunt.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, you've never been more pissed off in your life than when that happens.
Believe me, I do know, man. And that, like I said, that's why I tell people just don't. But so that's why I came up with the Reach camera arm is the transportation, the weight, and the setup and everything is what the big motherfucker of it is. So I came up with the kind of idea for it, and Matt Garris from Out on a Limb Manufacturing. I've seen some of his products and everything at the Harrisburg Outdoor Show, and the products that he had, they weren't really to my application of what I needed to use. So I didn't have any of his stuff, but I always promoted his shit because it was really good. And, and I liked the guy and everything else. So when it came time to build this camera arm, I got in touch with him and said, hey, here's what I want to build. I know you have, the knowledge to input as well. I know you have the ideas, you have the machines, and that ball mechanism, even though this single locking lever is a little bit different than the mechanism he had, he has a patent on that kind of that mount. So it just worked out perfect to take my idea and work with a guy like Matt to kind of just bring it all together and actually make it available to the market instead of just building one for myself.
Correct. Yeah, I plan on getting one of those from you when I get a smaller camera. Right now, my camera has to be on a tripod. The thing is fucking huge.
Got a beast.
I do want to continue trying the self-filming thing, even though it is a pain in the ass. But, I'm kind of, I'm dedicated to it. I like the idea of when you do get something on film, it's freaking awesome. It is hard, but I'd love to try that product of yours. And what I'm jealous of is that your product. What's so cool is not only is it in the hunting and outdoor world, which you and I share that passion for, but you have the option of mailing it anywhere in the country, and that's really cool. For me, it's a food prep thing. It's really cool. It's very profitable, but I got to really take it slow with that and the mailing thing, but it'll come.
Yeah, dude. And I tell you what, when it does, I always talk about, the podcast and all is not gonna, I'm like, man, I ain't taking sponsors unless it's something big. I ain't taking, fucking sponsorship for a free hat, but shit, I may have to look into taking one for some Meal Dash.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and we'll be in touch. We'll hook up. I'll get you linked up with the camera arm and shit too. Cause dude, I know how it, for instance, just this last sick deer hunt, that I actually plugged some of the footage on in, I think it was episode number 1 of the YouTube video of, it was a self-filmed hunt. It was in the rain and I was covering up cameras. It was like a week-long hunt. We were several days in, and, I got a kill, good, clean kill, shot a sick deer, got camp meat, got it on film, and, all good. It's hell of a time, hell of a hunt. And when I got home several days later and a buddy of mine was over and I, put it on the computer and I got to watch, the kill on the big screen and see the different angles and everything I captured. Dude, I was just as fucking jacked as when I released that arrow and when I found that animal dead. Like, to me, capturing it on film and getting that shot is just as equal as far as the drive and what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, and if you want to have a YouTube channel with people watch, you got to have stuff like that, and yeah, it's just cool when you finally do get on film. It makes the hassle of doing it worth it. I mean, all I've gotten, unfortunately, is a turkey hunt on camera. But I will say I shot the thing from like 15 yards away, so it was a pretty epic kill shot. But yeah, like I said, I'm dedicated to trying to film hunts as much as I can, man. I love the idea of it. It is a pain in the butt, but it is what it is,
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, believe me, again, like I said, I definitely know it's it's a motherfucker, but it's a reward in its own. Shit, but it's funny. I was talking not long ago about how there's not much that has the highs and the lows of hunting. And quickly change. But MMA is one of the only other things, and it's on a different level.
Oh, MMA is super
because you're talking about not just a repercussion of, I messed up that opportunity, but you're talking, I just got knocked the fuck out. Or
correct. Yeah, hunting and MMA are very related in a lot of ways. I mean, the thing that sucks about MMA or fighting is that the consequences are huge, right?
Yeah.
There's half of your money that gets involved, stuff like that. With hunting though, it almost equally hurts in the sense of like you more than likely only have one opportunity in your life to kill that certain buck. Like for me, 2 years ago, I had the opportunity of killing a buck of a lifetime. I'll have to send you a picture. I don't send many people pictures, stuff like that, because I don't want them knowing where I hunt or anything. But this buck was I would have been talked about for a long time. This thing was nice. And, I did, by doing the right thing, I kind of screwed myself. He was 60 yards broadside. I could have shot him, but I knew that he was also going to come toward me down the trail, and I was going to end up getting a 30-yard shot. Well, lo and behold, weird little thing happened where another buck got involved, and they kind of moved where I didn't think they would, and they ended up getting closer than 30 yards, but behind a bunch of stuff. And I never was able to make it happen. And then I look back and I'm like, why didn't I just take a clean, easy 60-yard shot? Which I shouldn't say a 60-yard shot is easy, but easy in the sense that he was standing there broadside. But
right.
At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. Like, hey, this he's coming toward me. Like, he's gonna come closer. It's gonna be an even easier shot. So why don't we wait for that? But it didn't happen. So that haunts me all the time. You know what I mean? And it always will, because it was such a nice buck.
It's the ones that got away.
Right?
It's the ones that got away, or the ones where we made the mistake that we remember the most.
Correct. And the same thing like with the Jay Cuccinello or Bryce Mitchell fight, for instance. Like that stuff sticks with you for the rest of your life. Just the consequences are a little higher. Hunting is hunting, right? Like the buck got away. Like, it sucks, but life goes on. In MMA, you lose, life goes on, but you also only take home half your check. So that kind of sucks.
Well, and I mean, and fuck, you take too many shots to the head, you ain't gonna do so good on your real estate test. I mean,
true that.
There's some high fucking stakes involved. It takes a different type of individual to want to do that shit.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I mean, my Mick guy put it to me really real the other day. He's all, if you think about it, you are literally one in 1,000. Like in the world. Like someone with your MMA skill level, like, you are literally 1 in 1,000 on this whole planet of billions of people. Like, it's pretty remarkable, and it is, thinking about
Shit,
it. You know,
I would put it at a larger scale than that, man. You think about
there's
how
a lot
many
of
people are in this world. Yeah, you're at a higher ratio than that. You know, there's
correct,
just
yeah.
there's
But there,
you
there's a
look
lot of
at
incredible fighters out
nearly
there.
everyone, and you know, they're trying to avoid confrontation or anything physical of pretty much any kind. And shit, even just physical activity nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Gosh, it's sad. My wife's a PE teacher, so she kind of has the same path as far as, like, you know, being active, exercising, and she really is passionate about.
And she used to compete
active
too, right?
Correct. Yeah, she used to compete in bikini shows, and she still wants to, but she's been so busy with school and stuff like that. Like, I've kind of almost put my foot down in the sense of, like, hey, why make your life harder than it already is, right? So she's done with school. She's graduated. She's in the credential program teaching and stuff. But so maybe in due time she will compete again, because, I mean, even right now, she looks freaking incredible. You know, like, people think she's competing right now, but she just lives a super healthy lifestyle. She loves working out, and she really has a passion for trying to change kids' perspective and get them active and moving, you know, to set themselves up with better lives. And, you know, I'd say we both share that passion together, and that's a large part why we also started the meal prep service together as well. You know,
it sounds like the meal prep needs to get into the local schools as well. I mean,
yeah, I trust me, I've already thought of, like, all these crazy things as far as, like, sponsoring the wrestling team, whatever, you know. Yeah, I definitely have some plans for that. Because, you know, I want to help out. Obviously, I try to help out my community as much as possible too. I mean, I think, what is today, Thursday? Just on Tuesday, I went and talked to a local high school. A week before that, I went and talked to my old middle school. I talked to 300 kids. Like, I do a lot of, I wouldn't say motivational speeches, because I, like, don't try and, like, motivate them, but I just try and give them a perspective, you know, and maybe there's a couple points in there that, like, will click with some of the kids.
For sure,
you know? So
for sure.
I definitely try to do a lot for my community, and I definitely don't, like, boast about it as much as I could, I guess you could say. Like, I guess I could, like, post about it more and, like, get more social media likes and I don't know, whatever. But, like, I just do it because I enjoy doing it, man, because I know that there's kids out there that were like me that, you know, maybe are a little bit of, you know, knuckleheads, kind of like I was at one time, and they could hear good advice. But, yeah, I enjoy doing that. And then, you know, back to my original point as far as, like, helping out the community. Yeah, if I got to a point where I could sponsor, like, the wrestling teams with meal preps, like, oh my gosh, I would love that. I think that'd be so cool, you know?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And like, I've seen you know, you do the different camps with the kids and everything else. And, you know, that's fucking badass to give back, because, I know just through, you know, knowing you over the several years and all that your father was a giant driving factor and your biggest fan and supporter throughout your, you know, wrestling career and coming up. And there's, you know, a lot of kids, you know, I know your father passed away and you don't have him now, but there's a lot of kids that may not have that person there to give that driving force. And you never know, your camp may be that thing that gives them that spark, or you never know where inspiration's going to be found.
Yeah, the talks at the school, I especially find that, because every once in a while, depending on what I'm talking about, especially if I have to give a background kind of my life story, I mentioned that, you know, I lost my dad at 22, and, you know, it's unfortunate, but at least I was 22 and I had 22 great years or whatever. But that especially resonates with kids. When I talk at, like, the middle schools or whatever, they'll come up to me after and they'll be like, yeah, I lost my dad, or I lost my mom too. It's kind of cool to know that, you know, I'm not the only one, and I know someone else now like you that has, you know, and it's just really cool, you know. I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to experience that in life, right? But that's also life. I mean, as sad as it is, it's just weird, crazy things happen to all of us.
And you
that
never
are
know.
totally unexpected.
Yeah, you never know where it's going to resonate. One of the most powerful messages I've ever received. I'm not sure if I talked about this on a podcast or anywhere else before, but I had a kid message me that I really didn't even know was following me. Never saw that he actually, liked anything. Never had messaged me prior to this. He sent me a message saying that, he had started to learn how to hunt with his father, and his dad passed away, and he didn't really have anyone to teach him. And it was just kind of through watching some of my videos and reading the stuff that I put on social media that he was able to go out and killed a deer on his own. And
Wow.
that was just powerful as shit. And again, he had never messaged me directly. He had never really commented much, so I had no idea that this guy was kind of following along and taking everything that I put out. And I mean, that was one of the most powerful things to me, to realize that you never know who's watching, you never know who's looking, you never know how people are taking things. And that's one of the first places I always turn to decide that if I ever have anyone give me shit, I use the hate to educate, because you don't know who is watching in the shadows and what they're taking away. So I just try to always, even if it's people being shitty, I try to give a positive perspective and spin on it. Use the hate to educate.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, that's incredible. And think about the kids that don't write you. That,
exactly, man. You never know where inspiration's found.
As much as I hate social media at times, especially, how some people really have a messed up perspective in terms of like their worth is based off their social media or whatever. I love it in terms of stuff like that. Like kids can draw inspiration out of certain people, certain things, certain events. So social media is powerful, man. It's a great tool, but it can also be a huge hindrance. And I just, I always try and advocate to kids too, like, hey, let social media be a useful tool. Don't let it hinder your life.
Yeah, it's been a pretty shift in culture of just life in general, the way social media has been integrated into our everyday lives. It's pretty fucking crazy, especially, I'm a little older than you even, and we never had cell phones and shit to take to school. People didn't have cell phones till I was in college, and they were fucking, it was like a green and black screen. Didn't have any fucking pictures, a text message. What the fuck are you talking about?
You had it to call people.
Right? Exactly.
Through social media during class.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, luckily I've talked to really good kids. They're like not ever like on their phone when I talk to them and stuff, but I can't imagine being a teacher like my sister, who's in the classroom. My wife's PE teacher, so she don't really have a phone issue, but my sister is like in the classroom teacher, and she said it's astounding, like how many kids will just whip that thing out, and instead of doing their work, they're doing this or that on their phone. And
shit, I can't say I'm not guilty of it from time to time, being like, what the fuck am I doing flipping through this shit? I got shit to do.
Yeah, no, it happens to us all. It can suck you right in, but it's good to know it's awesome for people to draw inspiration and share their life. And that's another thing though that people, I think, need to always keep in mind is like, we don't share the low points of our life. Like, all of our Instagram profiles are mainly highlights of our life, and you got like more people like being depressed and anxious now. And I think a lot of those people get caught up in seeing everyone's highlights and thinking that their life is just like one big highlight. And it's like, well, no, they don't share the low times.
Yeah,
like
you can't compare your life to someone's social media.
You can't compare your life to their highlights. No, not at all.
Right.
Like, yeah. So that's just that.
And half the time when people are posting these highlights and these awesome times and everything else, and looks like they're partying and having fun and a great time. They're fucking sitting home in their pajamas in a shitty mood anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of them are the most bad people, unfortunately.
It's fucked up. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So I love social media. I think it's awesome, especially for marketing and when you're trying to build a brand like how you and I are doing. But man, I hope that kids, at least a lot of them, get the parental guidance they need in terms of like, hey, don't take social media, like don't put it on a pedestal, you know, like it's a thing, but no one's going to remember how many followers you had when you die or anything like that. Like it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Like really said, you got to use it as a tool, not
correct,
not as a construct.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, shit, again, social media is how you know, you and I connected. So
exactly, and that's the beauty of social media. Like I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for Instagram.
Hell you know? Yeah.
So in that sense, that's just, you know, like
shit. Now that I think about it, somewhere I have a picture of when. I don't even remember what fight it was. I think it was maybe your fifth fight or something where you had Modern Assassins on your fight shorts.
Yes, right in the front.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find that picture and bust that out for this.
I believe that was it was a fight that I had for Tachi Palace against Nathan Solon. We were both undefeated at the time. I think he was 6-0 and I was 7-0. It was in the front of the gold shorts.
Yep. That's correct. Badass.
Yeah, for that. Yeah,
so,
it was really cool.
For everyone listening, what's your social media, both the Instagram and Facebook, so people can follow you, find out about your fight camp, watch all this funny ass shit you do with Brand, and then of course the Diamond Meal Dash.
Correct. Yeah, I try to keep people really informed on social media, whether it's fighting or just outside stuff I got going in my life. But my name is Tyler Diamond. There's not a ton of Tyler Diamonds in the U.S. right now, so more than likely, if you type my name in, it'll probably be one of the upper names. So there's that. And on Instagram, it's we kind of already touched on it, but Tyler Diamond, but the I in Diamond is a 1. So. Yeah,
and if y'all pull up Tyler Diamond and more than one pops up, look for the one with the cauliflower ears.
Yes, exactly. The big cauliflower satellite ears. Correct. Yeah, you won't miss it.
So, yeah, Tyler Diamond, D1 Diamond. And what about the Meal Dash?
Yeah, it's called Diamond Dash Meal Prep and Delivery Service. So we have an Instagram, we got a Facebook, we got all that. Well, I'm very active on it because, you know, people buy meals because they see your social media and your marketing content and stuff like that. So that's my meal prep service, and yeah, that's it, man. And right now, I can't detail exactly the fight news I'm waiting on, but I am waiting on word for possibly one of the biggest fights in my career, bigger than my UFC debut. So that's awesome, and I'm super pumped. In fact, I'm pulling up to the gym here in a little bit because I'm going to get my second training session in today. And I'm hoping that I have a text message or a call when I get done saying, hey, we got this fight. So fingers crossed on that.
Well, fuck yeah, brother. I've been a big fan of following your career and just being a friend and watching you just basically lay out one motherfucker after another.
Yeah.
You know, it dude, I get so hyped watching your fights. It's ridiculous. And my brother will let you know that's no bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you get the big news, let me know when you put it out. I'll help spread the word. I am super, super glad to hear, you know, everything's going well with the marriage, with the business, with, you know, everything. You know, you just laid a motherfucker out in 32 seconds and took, you know, the current champ in that organization and working your way back up into, you know, what's considered the big leagues of the MMA. Can't wait to hear that big fight news. And I know you got to get back to the gym for your 2 a day, so I don't want to keep you much longer, man.
Yep. No, yeah, sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on. It's always good talking to you and catching up, but yeah, I'm gonna get after it, get the session in, and get some good quality work and get better. Name of the game.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited to see what is still to come. So want to say to everyone, thanks again. This is the KiLLs It podcast. Make sure you check out my boy Tyler Diamond.
You were born primal. You were born primal.
He's a badass dude. He's one of the toughest guys that you'll find around. I mean, gets punched in the face professionally. You know what I mean? With the team Alpha Male, Diamond Meal Dash. He's a badass dude. Check him out, y'all. Next episode of KiLLs It, we're going to get another guest in. Don't know who yet, so you'll just have to stay tuned for it. KiLLs It.
See it now from 6-7 years from now being like, yeah, dude, it's weird. Tyler, he was a number 1 pick. It didn't work out for him. Like, didn't hear from him for a little bit. Then he got re-signed and he just went on a tear. Like, I could totally see that happening, and that is what I'm trying to make come to fruition here.
Tyler!